I just woke up from The Dream by One Walicki, July 20th, 2023. Short story of a real and true event that occurred in my own mind or in my less self in the mind of the universe or of God. The following is my true account of an experience that occurred July 20th, 2023 between 5 and 6 a.m., the morning of the CME's glancing blow to our Earth, just 3 days after the sun had a major solar X-flare. Last night I was listening to Midnight Broadcast on YouTube, the episode called Quantum Immortality. It was after midnight. I'd listened to this fascinating topic episode of green text from 4chan, and then let the playlist run on as I drift off. But it was late, and I had taken a cat nap earlier in the day. Well, it took a few hours before I couldn't fall asleep, so I just turned my phone off and decided to do the 90-second 1, 2, 3, 4 in and 1, 2, 3, 4 out Navy SEAL breathe relaxation method, as I had just recently learned it from the funny movie Long Shot with Rogan and Throne. And just as a side note, that movie along with Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise and Violet with Olivia Munn are 3 movies I recently just got to see on demand for the first time ever. Kinda in line with certain astounding synchronicity that have impacted on my life in a good way. It's been quite a zenith month of July so far, but also extremely hot and rainy, and even double the advantage in frontline for my felines isn't enough to do the trick, and we've been plagued with so many flea bites that are now keeping me awake with itching, even though I'm finally safe and sound in bed. Checked my phone, and it was 4:04 a.m., and so finally, I was relaxed and eventually fell asleep around 5-something a.m., I'm guessing. This is where things get really weird. I woke up in bed after feeling I had tumbled and fallen out, which could have happened, as I have cats as well. You know how it is when they like to sleep and cuddle up all around you and on top of me many a night, so anything goes, right? However, they weren't anywhere to be found, and the room seemed quite bright for some reason. Odd. I didn't really notice what was the is, as I said, felt odd and strange, but didn't realize what was clearly more evident in the next moment to follow. I felt like I was being tumbled again, but over and over and bounced around upside down repeatedly, like I was inside a washing machine or dryer. I was being bounced around quite violently and rolled against the headboard, and I couldn't stop what was happening. All I could see was from inside or underneath my white bedspread. Wait, I don't have a headboard. My bed isn't against the wall this way. I could see my windows looked like stuff was running past them on the outside, or that the whole room was moving like it was actually a car, but still my bedroom and everything including the room was rushing through some kind of maelstrom storm until I finally regained some sort of clarity and it all just stopped. It didn't seem like it was going to end. It made me feel extremely nervous and scared. But it finally ended, and I sat up in bed, disoriented to discover I was in a different room, on a different bed, wrapped in a huge, fluffy, white down-covered blanket, as mine is red and blue comforter. What's going on? I thought to myself aloud. I got up out of this foreign bed and out the doorway into the kitchen. Wait, I have a hallway. There's no kitchen there. I ran out into my apartment. Wait, I don't have any apartment. Everything looks like a cheap paneled flophouse, yet quaintly and finely decorated in artful fashion. Not my style, but okay. There's a short hallway and a stairwell, which doesn't exist in my place either. In fact, I've never had a place like this, nor have I ever even seen or visited a place like this in real life. This was disorientating, to say the least, and I ran to a door which seemed like it was a bathroom, as I heard what sounded like a shower running from inside. I fumbled to open the door, as I thought I heard the sound of a woman from behind the door. I don't have a wife or girlfriend either. For some reason, I can't explain, I imagined a half-naked woman in a towel, but instead, when the door swung open by whomever was inside, I was absolutely shocked and said to see my mother emerge through the threshold. My mom has been deceased for over 5 years now. She rushed out past me, wearing a fancy black dress gown with a simple high collar and white lacy vest with a matching veiled fringe cap hat tilted to the side like from the 1920s. I was stunned and speechless as she appeared much taller than she was when alive. Taller than me, and I'm just over 6 feet. She was also much thinner, like rail thin and very much younger, but her face was still recognizable. Still stunned, my mouth agape in disbelief to see her, and especially in this fashion, as she was only born in the 1930s. She passed me in a hurry, almost not even noticing me, or caring that I was in her way, and went to open a cabinet in the wall looking for something. "Mom!" I said. "Mom!" She was almost oblivious to me when she finally and distractedly answered me, almost annoyed, but in a calm, detached manner. "What is it?" I had no idea what else to say, but what's going on? This is not right. What's not right? In a nonchalant, non-caring manner and tone. I couldn't fathom all this and began running down the hallway to another stairwell where I witnessed a man with his back to me trying to open a number of different square and rectangular sized panels in a wall-mounted unit. Almost like mailboxes, but not quite exactly. I didn't get a good look of what he looked like because he was turned away from me as I approached him. Just then, another man, in a blue suit with dark skin and neatly trimmed beard, walked right up, bumping into me. He began confronting me and demanding to know where was or did I have the key. "Come on, where's the key?" he exclaimed in a very stern and intense voice. Confused, I responded, "What key? What are you talking about?" He poked at my chest with his right index finger and almost pulling at my shirt, which was a mild brown color as I noticed looking down at his fingers and my shirt, saying, "Come on, man, hurry up, you're the man." His 3 words were unintelligible to me, but got the impression I was, or he believed me to be, a sort of UPS officer for the postman. Now completely befuddled and in a mild panic, I took off running down the stairs to find a solid gray wooden door at the bottom, with no handle or knob, just what looked like a turnkey lock, and I couldn't or didn't know how to open it. In that very moment, I turned to see and hear the other unidentifiable man, whose back had been turned to me upstairs, jump or leap down the entire flight of stairs, landing flatly and with great sturdy force on the floor next to me, appearing as a gangly man with arms and legs folded like a frog, just sitting there and staring wide-eyed at me. This man's clothes seemed unassuming to me, as all I could focus on were his eyes, his short and neatly combed hair with a very pronounced long mustache, like the gentlemen from the 1800s would twirl with their fingers. He didn't say a word. He just sat there, frog-like and frozen, staring at me, absolutely creeping me out. Without hesitation and in a burst of energy, I somehow was able to push the door open and ran into another perplexing moment of my experience. I was now totally way out of my comfort zone, feeling very uncomfortable and vulnerable, a stranger in a strange land, surrounded by strangers. I was beginning to wonder who I was or even where I was supposed to be in time and in space. I found myself in a giant indoor mall-type area and saw my mom walking hurriedly through the massive crowd of people like it was a carnival with people on stands singing and playing music I didn't recognize, dressed up for some wild party that was occurring on the stands at some stage to the right of me. I wasn't able to move through the crowd and quickly lost sight of my mother. She was gone. Lost in a sea of strangers who didn't even notice me or bother to, I was definitely freaked out and a slight panic began to set in. I could not determine what was happening around me or even to me. How did I get here? I wondered to myself. Damn it, what's going on? I almost shouted aloud. Not that anyone seemed to have a care in the world. I felt a massive surge of urgency, the need to run away as far as I could back to what I thought I knew as my real life. I observed a very long Amtrak-style train on the the other side of this indoor mall, just sitting there on a track, and it seemed to have an infinite number of cars as far as I could see. This all happened to me as I'm wondering if I was going or was already crazy. I had only a second to think before I decided to get on board, while thinking maybe I was dead or something, because I was so very lost in this environment realm. I began thinking about all the people I knew in my life that were now gone, wiped from my existence, or I theirs. I couldn't for the life of me explain any of this in my head to know the truth of my confounded predicament. As I sat on the train, I watched through its extremely long, wide, and tall windows, the outside world. Now, parallel to the train I was in, it lay in an almost equally infinite bridge while the train streamed to a speed I have never experienced before, faster than the Acceler or even a Japanese bullet train. What kind of bridge was I seeing? It looked like in the style of the Brooklyn Bridge, but clearly it was not. It appeared to be made of modern steel, not brick. Every tower for its suspension cabling seemed a different design and transitioned from red-brown brickish, but not brick, to grayish, and then to a blinding white, as if all the sun's rays were focusing on it. And then there were many, many towers. It was definitely like a low-laying bridge, spanning island to island to island without end, akin to something over a seaway for passenger cars in Virginia or the Keys below Miami. I could not observe any water below, just the bridge with a blended sight. It became a blur, and I must have passed out from it, the enormity of my uncomprehending mind. And almost immediately, after this motion, I found myself in a large grand hall terminal, similar to Grand Central Station, yet clearly it was not. But like GCT, at rush hour in NYC, there were many different people, couples, kids, and singles. So many people, all of them walking in a variety of directions, and there was no sound, but that of the cacophony of footsteps, not in time or rhythm, only like a white noise of static. This grand hall was much more grander than Grand Central Station, the area of a small village, and much taller than GCT. I couldn't even see up to the ceiling, nor did I even attempt to view it. I now felt resigned to just stand there, my own spot on the floor, dazed and very sad. I meandered slowly in what direction I could not even fathom. North, south, east, and west. It no longer existed for me. I had lost all my sense of reality by now. I was just about ready to give up everything I once knew as real and accept my fate in this alternative realm, as I had no possible way to explain or even understand where I now found myself, or even to know who I once was, who now was me. I would have been so appreciative to be able to see my deceased father, or the deceased my mother, in some way to find me, bring me back to where I remember I once was, or even simply offer me comfort in the most familiar and familiar way as he often did. That was not the case in point at all. Not even for an odor. I saw the man with the handlebar mustache that jumped like a frog on the stairs before now, casually walking towards me. I felt very uneasy as his prominent mustache was again making me feel like there was something very sinister about his presence. He approached me and began to speak, but I immediately interrupted him, cutting him off. He was talking, saying, "What's going on here? Where am I? What is this place?" Not finding him sinister anymore, but rather curious, he smiled, and in a rather measured and more reassuring way, said to me, if that was even possible at this point, "This is the DeathSpread," with an obvious and pronounced lisp. Did he just say DeathBed or DeathSpread? I pondered in my worn-out brain. He simply repeated his lips-like phrase, now more calmly, in a kind and happy way. "This is the DeathSpread." Matter-of-factly, like I had no way to know anything about what was now my current unavoidable situation. I loudly exclaimed, "Am I dead? I don't want to be here! I don't want to be dead!" He then glanced over my right shoulder, looking past me, and motioned and pointed past me, saying, "Oh, here comes your other tongue." Another unintelligible word I couldn't decipher or comprehend, as if it were another language I never heard before, spoken anywhere. I turned and looked behind me to see a finely dressed woman in a dark gray suit with shoulder-length, bob-style gray hair slowly approaching. Was she my lawyer, or did he mean a word that meant guide? Like, in the afterlife? I began to nervously wonder, as if this was now my newfound fate. I had no time to even think about it any longer, as in the blink of an eye, or in the snap of a finger, I found myself awake and up under my red and blue comforter blanket with my one cat princess next to my feet in my own bed, here on this plane of existence again. I cautiously peered from under it and looked around to see my bedroom again, feeling safe but perplexed and in deep thought. I pushed down the covers and just lay there silently staring up at the ceiling, not panting or sweating, but just very still, knowing I was back where I knew, or up till now thought I knew where I belonged. Laying here again, I contemplated, was it all just a dream, or had I passed and died in my sleep somehow? I haven't even smoked weed in a minute, or even drank alcohol or eaten mushrooms for some time now. I hadn't even watched cable television the whole day prior. What happened to me? Slowly, I rose from my foam slumber bed and went to feed my hungry pussycats their breakfast, and then made several cups of strong coffee, which I quickly drank, as if I had just made it through a desert into a waiting oasis of life. I sit here typing, seriously not knowing how to classify my experience, except to say that I am weary of falling asleep again to dream such a vivid dystopian nightmare of sorts. I could actually physically feel things, had all the ability to speak and perambulate throughout the entirety of my dream, as I never have before. And now remember those words of a wonderful strange woman I had met the week prior, whom I didn't even catch a name or even exchange my own. As she stated to me after I said goodbye and God bless at the end of our chance encounter, her persistent authority is recalled as such. Stay awake! Perhaps if I had, I would not be here recounting that which befell me in the light of the morning night. When I regained my composure and had my wits about me, I posted an image online with the accompanying text. I just woke up from the dream. Did anyone have you had the tumbling and car crash sound in a bed that wasn't yours while the whole room is spinning and can't get out? The DeathBed DeathSpread into the Alti-Verse? Perhaps one day, God willing, I might meet that wonderful young woman and have the ability to share this experience. Well, good night and God bless. Pleasant dreams.